Good evening and welcome to the Soundbite show on FEC TV. For today's show, we're going to do a roundup of 2012. So we're going to talk about everything music and entertainment that's happened in 2012. Today I'm joined with Danny.
What up?
Danny and I are going to go through a few bits to do with the music. First of all, what I want to talk about, Danny, is over the last, we'll say, 50 years, 60 years?
Yes.
Each decade has brought something brand new to music, okay?
Right.
So back in the 50s, like who springs to mind when you think of 50s music?
Buddy Holly.
The King.
Elvis.
Mr. Presley has to be in there.
Yeah, Elvis.
Absolutely. You've got Les Paul.
Yes.
Creator of the multi-tracking.
Yes.
And what about the 60s?
My personal favourites, the Kinks, the Beatles.
Beatlemania.
The Shangri-Las. I couldn't tell you.
And then the Stones. Don't forget the Stones.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Hendrix. In the 70s, who do we have in the 70s?
You got your likes of Zeppelin, late 70s Journey.
Bob Marley,
The wonderful
David Bowie.
ABBA. Yes.
Yeah, we can't forget ABBA. Mamma Mia. Then in the 80s, we've got, there was loads of bands in the 80s.
That's correct.
All your rock
and every
bands.
other era, yeah.
But especially the 80s is when all the rock bands came out.
Yeah, Pixies, my personal favourite.
We've got Guns N' Roses.
Yes.
Nirvana, no, Nirvana was 90s.
Correct.
And who else came out in the 90s? Loads of bands out in the 90s again.
Stone Roses, Oasis, you had The La's again.
We have Pearl Jam.
Yeah.
They were out in the 90s. 2000s.
You're losing me now. Dr. Dre. No.
Eminem.
Yes.
I suppose the Queens of the Stone Age.
They're also a band, thank you.
And yeah, Kings of Leon. So far, for the start of this century, what bands do you have that spring to mind? What musicians can you say that have surfaced in the past 2 years that are going to make the category of musicians that we've just been talking about?
I would have to say the last 2 years has been utterly disappointing. Absolutely nothing inspiring.
One Direction?
Our head of production will tell you this is true as well. We found ourselves watching The X Factor, which is very depressing to admit on television.
Absolutely.
That's where it's at now.
The X Factor.
That's what I'm into.
Really?
No.
Do you watch it from start to finish? Do you
Yes, it happened.
vote? Do you vote on your iPhone?
No, I don't
use the
have an
clock app?
iPhone. My iPhone has a torch.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not quite an iPhone.
That's pretty cool. So yeah, so there's not really much coming out of the last 2 years of music, which is a little bit depressing, really.
Yes.
But we've got another 8 years to go, so hopefully 2013 will bring us some new musicians.
Here's
coming
hoping.
through the
Worth
scene.
mentioning in the last year, Metronomy.
Metronomy?
Yes. The one that goes din 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 din. Wait for it. Din 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 din.
Okay, I know who they are now. It's fine.
It's all right with you, yeah?
Perfect. So what bands do you think are going to come through next year? Any tips for 2013?
Absolutely none.
No?
No.
Nothing come out of this year?
No.
There's been a good few bands on the scene in 2012, though, that we have to talk about.
Let's
Two
hear it.
Irish bands that have come through. Codaline, do you know who they are?
Yes, I do. Yes.
They're kind of quite similar to Coldplay. They broke out by having one of their songs synced with Grey's Anatomy. And they're fresh on the Irish scene. They're going to be a good big band next year. They've been doing quite a lot this year as well.
What is it about Grey's Anatomy? That seems to be the breakthrough point for bands these days. Like, well, for Moni singer-songwriter stuff, which I'm assuming is what these Codaline boys are, yeah?
Because I think Coldplay broke out in the scene as well through something similar.
Yeah, there you
with
go.
Grey's Anatomy.
Says
So
it all.
There's another band being leased on us through Grey's Anatomy.
I wonder how many times we've said Grey's Anatomy.
4.
It's brilliant.
Little Green Cars?
Never heard of them.
No?
Nope.
Well, they were on The Voice.
Yeah.
Other Voices.
Were they, yeah?
Yeah, another Irish band. They're kind of quite harmonic.
I like harmonies.
Melodies, quite chilled out,
Yes.
nice beats, good songwriters. So they're going to be coming out. They're the two Irish ones that we have on the scene. Now we've got a new Australian sound from guys called DZ Death Rays. And what they kind of do, it's like noise like electro. Kind of a lot of synths and very rocky, very heavy. It's a completely new sound. I've never heard anything about it before.
Well, the last 2 years has been completely devoid of any true fucking rock and roll. You know, it's all been kind of synthetic stuff. You know, it's all synths and keyboards and program stuff. You know, I want to know where the good old rock and roll is personally.
Where the good old rock and roll is. Well, they all seem to be reforming around the place anyway. Everywhere you look, there's tours from all these comeback bands.
Yeah, well, the comeback bands. That's what's happening. We touched on this in one of the other episodes. It's the fact that the reason everybody's getting back on tour, you had Led Zeppelin, you've got the likes of the Stones. Well, they've always been touring.
Stone Roses.
That's their only income these days. Nobody's buying CDs.
They're all downloading
They get
them.
radio play, and their main income is from doing gigs. Now, I would say that is the upside of the music industry these days. The way music's gone. The upside is we're getting to see all these bands that we never would have had a chance to see, like the Pixies. I told you earlier, they're one of my favourite bands of all time. I've seen them 3 times. That wouldn't have happened 10 years ago.
Absolutely,
they would have just sat back, enjoying the royalties, and never had to look at each other ever again.
The Pixies are doing something interesting as well, the way they're touring. They're not going through Ticketmaster.
Is that right?
They're doing everything, on a completely separate platform. So
Scabby.
it's direct. It's selling their tickets direct to fans. They're cutting out all the middleman, and they're actually selling the tickets for cheaper.
Outside the gigs themselves,
the touts. They're selling it through a platform called Topspin.
Right.
And it's kind of a way that I think that some things are going to go in the music industry. A lot of other artists, after seeing what the Pixies have done, have looked into this. So keep your ears open for that now, Topspin.
I'd also just like to point out that in our last episode I asked out Jessica and I still haven't been on that date.
That was 2 episodes ago.
What's up with that? It's even longer. Jess, would you like to answer?
Well, it's 2013 now, so it's like a new start. So
Is it because I'm fat?
No, it's because you're hairy.
What the?
So what else we've got? The higher earners, the highest earners, I should say, for 2012 in the music industry. Who came in at number 1? It's been all over websites.
I don't know. You're going to have to tell me here.
Dr. Dre said.
Dr. Dre? Is he still making albums?
No, he's not. He's making headphones. Beats
I
headphones.
see.
Yeah.
I can't afford those things.
No, they're quite expensive.
Right.
And he set up a couple of offices out down in West Cork.
What's the story
You
there?
might see him bouncing around Clonakilty sometime.
I doubt that very much.
You'd spot him a mile off anyway.
She's only in it for the pork products. Yeah.
So second in was Mr. Elton John.
Right.
He was the second highest earner. I will just say, actually, Dr. Dre earned, according to Forbes, 110 million for last year.
Just on headphones.
Well, on a few other branding things that he does. He didn't tour or anything, though.
What is going on?
Then we have Elton John was 80 million.
Yeah.
He only played 100 separate gigs in 1 year, and he made 80 million.
100 separate gigs.
Yeah.
How much is he? He was doing the maths there. What? he probably just got to re-release Candle in the Wind again.
We'll wait for somebody else to pop their clogs first.
I'll tell you what, wait till the Royals have that baby. They'll re-release Candle in the Wind again. We'll all get emotional. There's another 80 grand or 80 million for Elton John.
Mr. Elton John.
Yes, he's still standing.
And then we had U2 in at the third, our very own U2.
Bono!
78 million. Quite a lot.
No longer supporting the Irish economy either.
No, he shipped up and got out.
Yeah, he was all about Ireland and supporting the country, and he's boosting our economy until the tax breaks went.
The tax, yeah.
Now he's off in Switzerland in a nuclear vault or something.
Irish should leave him off.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we have this year really with movies. What about entertainment? Anything?
Entertainment, yeah. Well, firstly, I'd like to roll a clip of the best films of last year.
Oh.
Exciting stuff. Okay, so that was a quick roundup of the most popular films of 2012. Funnily enough, a lot of the films that are going into production now this year, 2013,
That's right.
are going to be shaping up for one of the most extravagant summers of blockbusters, which is going to be 2015. In the same summer, now bearing in mind this is all within 3 months, you're going to have the Justice League,
Right.
which is Warner Brothers DC's answer to the Avengers, which obviously is one of the most successful films of all time. That is going to be written by this guy Ruben Fleischer, who's the new fucking whiz kid in Hollywood, you know. What they're going to do is basically try to do the reverse of what the Avengers have done. They spent, I think it was 7 films introducing these characters slowly and interweaving them. Instead, in the Justice League, they're going to release all the characters in one film, and then that'll be the introduction to all the spin-offs separately, you know what I mean?
Get a bit confusing.
It very well could.
For me, anyway, it would definitely get confusing.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
sure for
you know,
somebody like yourself.
with a lot of time on my hands, yeah. The other exciting thing that's going to be happening is George Lucas sold the rights for Star Wars to Disney.
I heard that. That is
Yes,
awful.
ma'am. It's not awful.
I think that's horrendous.
Let me tell you why it's not horrendous. Have you seen episodes 1, 2, and 3, which George Lucas not only insisted on writing himself, but directing?
I thought they were fantastic.
Did you?
Yeah.
Shows what you know. Star Wars Episode 7 means what they can do with this is basically, what they have done with this, allegedly, now this is all rumour at the moment, is they've given the directing job to Matthew Vaughn. Now Matthew Vaughn's last 2 films were X-Men First Class, which
Okay.
was, I thought, fantastic,
I like that one
and
too.
Kick-Ass,
Okay.
which is a strange thing. You go into the cinema watching Kick-Ass, you never would have thought this is the man who's going to be directing the biggest franchise of all time. So, whether they get the old cast back, I don't know. I personally am dead excited about the idea of Star Wars being in anyone's hands except for George Lucas. Some of the same summer, imagine now, you got the Justice League, right? You got Batman, Superman, Green Lantern, all up on the screen together, followed by Star Wars. Then you've got the Avengers too, which is reuniting all that cast again. Yeah, mind-blowing stuff. I know you don't care, do you? Then we have Josh Trank, who was last year's big breakout director. He's a first-time filmmaker, and he made a film called Chronicle. Now, Chronicle was basically on the back of this trend of kind of, you know, like Paranormal Activity and all these
Yes.
films. It's kind of like the found footage thing that really took off. So basically, they've hired this guy to do hopefully not a found footage style thing. He's going to be rebooting the Fantastic Four. Again, I'm sure you're thrilled to hear all about this. Following that, then, you've got Avatar 2, which is the sequel to Avatar 1. James Cameron, which he spent 14 years making the first film. 14 years.
He built cameras and everything specifically for the movie, didn't he?
He built a lot, yes, he did. 14 years in the making. You'd
Wow.
kind of expect a better story.
Yeah.
But there you have it. After that, you've got something I'm very excited about. Now, this is something that people who are pumping money into all these blockbusters, and primarily these blockbusters are all comic book movies. That's just what happened. That's what's happening these days. That's the trend because it's a safe bet, it's a safe franchise. And they're going with really unsafe director choices. Like I said, for Star Wars, you get the director of Kick-Ass 2. Now, for Ant-Man, which again is a risque one, they have Edgar Wright. Now, you may have heard of this one. You know Shaun of the Dead?
Yes.
Hot Fuzz.
Yes.
Okay, so this guy, Edgar Wright there, that's what he
British
owns.
director.
Yes, he did Space and everything like that. So they're actually handing him a multi-million-dollar franchise, which is, again, I think fantastically exciting. Then you have next the lovely Tom Cruise, whether you love him or hate him. Not a Tom Cruise
No.
fan? Do you know what? And I'll just say this now. I've no problem with Tom Cruise. Tom, if you're watching, and I know you are. Yeah, keep it up, mate. Yeah? Doing a great job.
The Scientology bit puts me off him.
But why does it
Can't
put you
take him
off? Why
seriously.
does somebody's religious faith put you off their performance in a film?
Because it's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, but it's fantasy. You're watching a film, like, do you know what I mean?
Fantasy, the religion's
If
fantasy.
he can
right?
play the part and if he can be convincing, the man is acting 24/7 anyway. I mean, he's born for the role.
I
He doesn't
suppose.
have a genuine
We'll
bone in
see,
his
we'll
body.
see when it comes out.
We will. Anyway, that's the Magnificent Seven. I couldn't tell you where that's going to go. Tom Cruise style. A lot of running around and Tom Cruise making very serious faces.
A lot of props to keep him up because he's so tiny.
That's probably true, yeah. I'm pretty sure that he doesn't work with actresses over 5.5 feet anyway.
No, I don't think so.
I wouldn't either. And then you have the Prometheus sequel, whether you liked it or not. Yeah. So Prometheus was the prequel to Aliens, all that crack. Yes, that's going to be rolled out in the same summer, and I don't know who wants this film to be made or who's going to back it, but yes, they're bringing out an Independence Day 2.
Wow.
Yes.
I'd watch Independence Day too.
Personally, I'd rather watch...
really enjoyed the first one. I love Will Smith.
Do you? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, he was all right.
Yeah, he's all right in everything, I think. I love him. Well, I think that's all we have time for today, Danny.
That's very sad.
Absolutely. But it's the first show of the new year. Happy New Year, everybody, by the way. We forgot to say that at the start.
Happy New Year.
And when we see you next week, we'll have more in music and entertainment, and we'll also let you know how the date went.
Yay.
Thanks for watching, guys. See you next week.
North Korea.